Well, hello family, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of Property Focus. In today's episode, we want to delve into the world and the business of estate agency. We've got a lineup of esteemed board of directors of the Estate Agents Registration Board with us, and we're going to find out about the opportunities that lie ahead for this industry. Welcome to Property Focus. My name is Peter Ngigi. And welcome to Property Focus.
Thank you, Peter.
Briefly introduce yourself.
My name is Eunice Masharia. I'm the chairperson of the Estate Agents Registration Board. I've done over 30 years real estate, property management, agency, and property valuation. And I'm currently running a real estate firm called Etron's Property Consultants. We are based in Westlands. At Etron's Property Consultants, we offer services in property valuation for all purposes. We are currently in the panel of various banks in Kenya, and also, of course, for individuals like yourself.
Brilliant, brilliant. And you're the chair of the EARBS.
Yes, I'm the chair of the Estate Agents Registration Board. This is a board that is currently constituted under the Estate Agents Act, Cap 533 of the laws of Kenya. And the board is, comprises members, representatives from both government and private, and also professional associations. So our work is to register and to regulate the practice of estate agency in Kenya. And currently we have over about 3,000 registered estate agents whom we put in the Kenya Gazette. We publish in the Kenya Gazette at least once a year, at the beginning of the year. And we are working towards improving that sector and bringing confidence in the sector by regulating the practitioners.
Why don't you tell us what the qualification process is?
First of all, you must be a Kenyan citizen. We are currently not registering non-Kenyans. And also, you must be a holder of a diploma or a degree or a license from a university that is currently recognized by the board. You need to furnish the board with the sufficient evidence of adequate academic training and also practical experience. The idea is that the persons we are licensing to come to the market, because they're coming to give you advice. When they're selling to you a piece of land, it's not just connecting a seller and a buyer. They are telling you, if you buy this property, you can put up this kind of development. So for someone who doesn't have the requisite knowledge on planning, for example, how can they then advise you on issues of planning? They'll tell you can put up a petrol station, then you buy the property and just realize, honestly, you can only put up a single dwelling house for your family. For example, do you know that for you to manage a commercial building, you need to do reports every quarter to the Directorate of Safety and Health. So someone who is not conversant with the laws, with the Occupational Safety and Health Act, cannot manage efficiently or effectively that building. We also require a letter of recommendation from an estate agent. We require 2 years, at least 2 years experience. Na sio ile ya mnakunywa kahawa once in a while, then you come and tell us, I have known so and so, we have been working together, and you've never sat under him for pupillage. And then you also need to seek a certificate of good conduct from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. And of course, if you are in a professional body like Institution of Affairs of Kenya, you need to provide a certificate of good standing and registration with the association.
So we've talked about what you need to qualify. What's the application process like? What are the steps?
It's actually a simple application process, and we have recently also automated the process, so it's very easy for the applicants to follow through. The first step, of course, is to fill up an application form that we have provided online. So you fill in the details, the normal details, the biodata. You give us your education background, you give us your training background, in the work experience where you've worked, what durations that you've been there. Then you get a recommender to, of course, confirm that they have known you for a certain duration of time. They have trained you, and you also get a letter from them. The person who recommends you must, of course, be a registered estate agent with at least more than 2 years, because the requirement is for the applicants to have at least 2 years training under a registered estate agent. And you, of course, provide for us the certificates for your recommender to show that they're also in good standing with the board. Once you have submitted your application form, you, of course, attach the necessary certifications, certificates of academic certificates, and any other certificates that you have. You need to attach that. You also need to attend a pre-registration workshop that we organize for the applicants. And what we realized is that our pass rate was very low. People would come, apply, they go through the entire process, and they don't go through I think we were below 50% pass rate. And for the board to cure that, we decided to introduce a pre-registration seminar. So when the applicants come, we're able to take them through what are the expectations for them to register, what we require. We take them through a step-by-step requirements. We also take them through the expectation in the kind of competency and the knowledge that they need to have acquired before they come. We demystify the process of application, which is very good for the applicants. And this is mandatory for you to apply for registration, and it's actually really necessary. Then we do what we call shortlisting. There's a committee that is charged with the process of application. So they will look at whether you have fulfilled the necessary requirements. If there's something that you don't have, that we can ask you to go, maybe get a certificate from the DCI, for example. If it's missing, we try to fill up the gaps. And if you haven't qualified in a certain area, we can also recommend that you go and equip yourself with that before you come back, so that the people then we shortlist have a very good chance of going through the process and successfully. Then after that, we organize for them a face-to-face interview with the applicants, where now they come before the board and explain themselves and just demonstrate that they are ready for certification. So once the interviews are done, then the process is over. Those who qualify, of course, will get the certificates for registration. They'll be required to pay some monies for that. All that is it's online. Even the fees that are required at every stage, we have provided all that in our website. So once we are done with the process, the board has approved your application for licensing. Then we have issued you with a certificate. We actually do a ceremony. We call an induction program, where now you come and we tell you how to behave as an estate agent.
What are some of the fiduciary duties that agents owe to their client, and how do you ensure that agents follow this and comply with this?
It's very important that the estate agents are able to behave in a professional manner and offer a professional service. So for us, this is one of the biggest expectations from registered estate agents. You realize investment in real estate is a big thing, because you are investing your life savings, you are investing monies that you have borrowed from the bank, and you expect a return. There are legal requirements when it comes to management of properties. Landlords are expected to remit a certain amount, percentage towards the rental tax, and then at the end of the month. They're expected to pay service charge when it comes to commercial properties. They're expected to comply with other environmental laws. So the person who is managing this property on behalf of their principal, they must be very, very professional in how they handle people, how they handle money, how they handle the property. Because also you don't want to charge someone with your property, and then it keeps deteriorating year after year. You want someone who can manage that property and maintain the value of that property and the attractiveness of that property. So I think it's important to understand that. We also require estate agents to provide an accountant certificate. What do I mean by that? Is that you are handling client money and you're not supposed to mix your money and your client's money. Your money is your money. Out of your fees goes to your company accounts or your private account. But client's money are supposed to be in a specific special account. And that account is you're expected to carry out an audit and get an accountant's certificate at the end of the year. Yes, which you said to the board. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Now, there's ongoing training, and I understand you're supposed to be somewhere in the weekend. Is it only in Nairobi? Are you doing it elsewhere?
Oh, the one in Eldoret?
Yes.
Yes. That's a pre-registration training. Actually, we have one on the 21st of June, I think is the other weekend, where we are inviting people who are interested in seeking registration to come. And we'll take them through the expectations, we'll train them, and we'll tell them what we expect of them through the process like we have discussed. And it's very important for those who are seeking registration, because they'll be better prepared, for that process. And also, I just remembered, we're also developing a code of conduct. We have a draft that is sitting with the Cabinet Secretary. Once that is passed through Parliament, it will become more clear for the estate agents. Yes.
Brilliant, brilliant. I like it. Just as a parting shot, any advice that you would like to give anybody who's watching the show right now, who wants to become an aspiring estate agent, anything?
Estate agency, like I said when we started, is a profession. Just like an accountant, you cannot trust someone who have not done accountancy to do your books. Because they don't understand it. Estate agency is not just bringing two people together, a buyer and a seller. That can be done by anyone, including a marketer. And marketers are very good at doing that kind of thing.
Yes.
But for you to understand the depth of the sector and what is required of you, you can call on us and we advise you who is registered and who is licensed to practice, or you can go to our website, the list is there. You can acquire or get yourself a copy of the Kenyan Gazette, and you engage the right person.
Wonderful.
I think that is important.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Brilliant, brilliant. Now, don't take carpenter issues to the mechanic. Remember, always get a qualified estate agent whenever you're doing your land or property transactions. That was Eunice. We're going to transition to the vice chair in just a moment. Stay tuned. Briefly introduce yourself.
My name is Ayub Naburi. I'm the vice chair of the board that registers estate agents. It's called Estate Registration Board.
Why don't you tell us about the ethical code of conduct? How do you adhere to that as the board?
The ethical code of conduct is basically meant to ensure that there is high level of professionalism and discipline among the estate agents. One, estate agents are required to have a client account separate from the operational accounts. Two, estate agents are required to avoid or minimize conflict of interest. You cannot, for instance, represent both seller and buyer at the same instance unless you have consent from both of them. Three, estate agents are required to disclose all material facts as far as transactions are concerned and also act in good faith.
Brilliant. Speaking of which, how does the board sort of approve the character of an individual?
We have, of course, to request them to submit documents. Right now, the applications are being submitted online. The system through which we receive the applications together with the attachments. So once we receive those documents, one of the documents is a certificate of good conduct from DCI headquarters. that basically confirms that one does not have a criminal record. Secondly, when one comes for the interview, we do a number of things. Among them, we listen to them and also compare what they're saying in terms of consistency with the CV. And you also dig deeper into one's social media accounts. So if your social media accounts and posts are wanting, then you may not be able to meet the qualifications. The other aspect is basically looking at what, if at all there's any complaint about you from the public, members of public, because we receive complaints and we document them. So if at all someone has complained about you, then we may need to query before we admit you as a registered estate agent.
Say an agent has an issue with a seller and he's not getting commission, how then do you help that person?
The mandate should be written and signed by both the agent and the client. And if possible, you need to have a witness. So if you have a written mandate and a law of contract, then you can enforce the contract.
Now, what are some of the most common complaints that you get from estate agents that our viewers should look out for?
Mishandling clients' cash.
All right.
Where we have an agent using clients' money, for instance, rent or even proceeds from sales deposits to run the operations. The other complaint is about deposit refunds, security deposit refunds, where one refuses to refund security deposits.
About being an applicant or about the real estate industry, anything that I haven't asked?
I want to encourage Kenyans to always insist on getting a registration certificate and also a license, an annual license before you engage an estate agent. If they don't have a certificate of registration, they don't have the annual practicing license, don't engage. It means that they are not qualified to practice at such a time. I know we are having a few challenges with rogue agents out there who are practicing without registration, and I want to assure the public that the Estate Agents Registration Board is working hard to ensure that this industry is regulated and we have order in this country and in this industry. Thank you very much.
Oh, valuable gems. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short commercial break. When we're back, we've got more with the lawyer on the legalities of registering to be an agent and how you can know how to transact with an agent. Stay tuned. Briefly introduce yourself.
Yes, Peter, my name is Daniel Kamunda, advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and having been admitted into the bar in the year 2006. So in July 20th, 2006, next month 20th, I'll be clocking 18 years of practice.
Brilliant, so the right person for the job. Now, tell us about the key, from a legal perspective, the key considerations that a client or an agent owes to their client.
There are aspects of estate agency that come into play. The estate management, that is management of properties, both the residential and commercial, and also the sale of properties. And in those categories, the agents who certain duty of care under the terms of engagement that they have between themselves and the clients. For example, if it's in property management, there are aspects. For example, there is collection of rent, there is maintenance of the premises, there's the day-to-day care of the premises and the relationship between the, say, tenants and their landlords, both in the residential and commercial. Now, the duties they owe to the clients, and started by giving the aspect of property management. The duties among them that they owe to their clients, in this case, a landlord, because they are managing for the landlord, is accountability. Agents are supposed to maintain books of accounts. They are supposed to account for things like if they're the ones holding deposits for the renters. They are supposed to account for clear-cut commissions, so that there are no disputes, there are no conflicts between themselves and their clients, in this case the landlords. So this is a duty of care of even disclosure. If it comes to sale of properties, the responsibilities they have is that full disclosure of the issues regarding that property. Terms of engagement must be disclosed. For example, an agent must disclose that if you're acting for both sides, you must disclose. Yes. But to avoid conflicts, which I'll be talking about later, is advisable that an agent should not.
Brilliant. Now, you talked about potential conflicts. How then can estate agents resolve some of these situations?
One of the biggest conflicts they arise from commissions. Now, regulated agents are also regulated in how they charge their commissions, and they have to refer to the certain remuneration order of how they charge. The general public may not be aware that there are stipulated, commissions in percentages in sales or even in rent collection. So if those are not clear, conflicts arise from there. Then there are also conflicts that may arise from, say, how to handle deposits, say, like, for example, in rental management, where agents are the ones that are collecting deposits for rent. Dispute resolutions that come into play. People can litigate between themselves, either if the person who is aggrieved is a landlord, or a seller or buyer can sue the agent, or the agent can do vice versa in court. Then there is also mediation. Mediation is also a process where you refer to a mediator and they solve their disputes. You can do arbitration, or you can do both mediation and arbitration. It's a combination, or a reconciliation, because at times you realize that it's just a misunderstanding. Reconciliation in this is that there was, say, for example, there was incomplete communication in a negotiation of, say, commission, the percentage commission. So these people can descend to sit down and reconcile, through a sit-up. So that's some of the dispute resolution. Another dispute resolution is that if a matter is very complicated and requires expert input, then we can refer a matter to experts, where experts look into the matter, they give their opinion and their advice. So those are some of how disputes can be resolved.
What are some of the most important pieces of law that a real estate agent should have whenever they're practicing?
The most relevant ones that I will summarize this into is, firstly, the Constitution of Kenya, we popularly today known as Constitution of Kenya 2010, is the main one. It's what we call the granum. It actually anchors everything. And the reason I'm starting the Constitution of Kenya is because all the other laws must actually be within the provisions of the Constitution. So that any other law that is in conflict with any provision of the Constitution, then the Constitution takes precedent. I don't use a very heavy term, is null and void, but to the extent of that conflict. But the other laws, number one, after the Constitution, should be the law that registers an agent. That is Estate Agents Cap 533. It is there where the agent starts from, and it is the law that also creates the board, that is the Estate Agents Regulation Board, that now regulates the agents. Then in the practice, you start with that law, of course, with the constitution that anchors you, and then you start with the law that registered you and that gives you the mandate to practice as an agent. The other laws like the Lands Act, and the related ones like the Land Registration Act, the Land Control Act, Section of Properties Act, because of how you manage section of properties. Like, for example, in apartments that are now been built enormous in Nairobi and other places, they are managed or they are also sold as section of properties. Section of properties where you can own some apartment on the 27th floor and you have a title. An agent needs to understand that, so that when if it's a sale, then they need to know what to cover in the terms they're engaging their clients in. Now, the other laws, like, for example, the Proceeds of Crimes and Money Laundering Act, which protects or which looks into crimes regarding how you're doing dealings that may involve monies that are not generally obtained. For example, proceeds of corruption, where people are getting money and they want to plunge them into, say, properties. These are laws that you need to understand, because you actually, as an agent, live in between yourself being involved in proceeds of crime or aiding someone who is consuming proceeds of crime and trying to legitimize that money using acquisition of property. So those are the main relevant ones that guide you, that are so relevant in a very, very day-to-day running of estate agency.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been a fantastic episode on being an agent, and we've had a phenomenal panelist to just tell us a little bit more. Make sure you catch us next week, same place, same time. Goodbye.